Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And today we will review Supergirl episode 2, or I'm sorry, season 2, episode 12, The Luthors. And so, in this week's episode, we're still kind of off of this odd situation with Cara and Manel. Um, Everyone's kind of at the alien slash bar hangout. And we get Alex, who wants to introduce the team to, or everyone to Maggie, to let them know she's dating Detective Maggie. And so everybody's there. Hank's there, or John rather. Um, Jimmy's there, Wynn's there, Cara's there, and Manel's there, because he's a bartender, he works there. And so we this kind of funny scene where as Alex introduces Maggie to everyone, um, Manel is like, well, is this a problem here on Earth? Because uh, on Daxam, they don't have with people coming out of the closet or people dating same sex and things like that. So just this kind of funny scene where Manel's talking about the more the merrier, the more the merrier. But it kind of reminded me, for the Game of Thrones fans, and you all know where I'm talking about. Kind of reminded me of a lot of the uh, thoughts of Prince Oberyn, back in Dorne. Um, but anyway, as they're at this hangout, it kind of flashes across the TV that Lillian Luthor's trial is coming up, and so everybody of course is glad to see that she has to stand trial, but there are some concerns about Lena Luthor and her relationship with her mom at this point. We get this scene where Lena Luthor does go to see her mom, and we get this big reveal. Whereas Lena Luthor thought that she was adopted all this time, we find out that she is actually a real, legitimate Luthor, and that Lionel Luthor had an affair, and Lena's mom died, and so he had to bring her back to the house and raise her along with Lex and as a family member. And so there was always a lot of animosity against, from Lillian to Lena, because she was a constant reminder of Lionel's infidelity and affairs. Um, so this is a big reveal to Lena. She finds out she is a blood-related Luthor, and it kind of changes things with her feelings toward Lillian, because now she understands why Lillian treated her the way she did whilst growing up. And so they kind of want to start over, have this get reconnected. We then cut to basically Mr. Corbin here, and he's in prison. He's doing his time, and he gets a special delivery whilst in his jail cell, and he's wondering what is it exactly, and there's a box delivered by a guard. He opens the box, and there is a piece of kryptonite in there. Wow. So he, as you know, with Metallo, as his villain name as we know him, Metallo uses the kryptonite to power, for power, and it's actually, it powers his heart and things like that. So because of that, Metallo is able to use his powers and break out of prison. We then cut to Lillian's trial. Lena's there. Everyone's at the courthouse. Cara's there to see justice served against Lillian Luthor. And so basically, during the trial, Metallo starts to use his powers and destroy everything in the courtroom, because at this point, it's pretty clear that Lillian's going to be found guilty of the charges. So Metallo, basically working alongside Lillian, plans her escape. Supergirl actually is in the courtroom as Cara, as a reporter there on site, so she's able to turn into Supergirl and try to stop them. But they set up a scenario where she can either let them escape or save people, or protect the public safety as they're in danger. And they've created, Metallo's created a situation where she'll have to go save some people or stop him. She can't do both at the same time. So she does save these people. It seems to be some type of scaffolding or something like that he's cut loose. It's falling on the public. And by the time Supergirl saves the public, Lillian and Metallo have long escaped. So, unfortunately, the problems with Lillian's jailbreak doesn't stop there. Investigators are trying to find out how Metallo was able to escape from prison to help Lillian escape. And whilst Cara is visiting Lena to offer support to, try to figure out how Lillian escaped and who was involved and things of that nature, Maggie comes in, Detective Maggie comes in, and she has evidence that Lena helped Lillian escape. And it's kind of put Lena in a very tough spot, because they have her on what appears to be her on camera. So they're taking her off to, the prison. And Cara's in a situation now where she still considers Lena a friend, and she still very much believes in her innocence. So Cara is going to bat for Lena and trying her very best to help everybody see that Lena has been very helpful to them in the past, as far as helping them to stop bad guys and even stop her mom. But nobody's buying it. Everybody's pretty much against Lena as far as her being part of the jailbreak. And so we then cut to, we get Metallo. He's actually come to break Lena out of prison, as sent by her mom Lillian. And the thing is, Jimmy and Cara, they've kind of had this argument, because Jimmy doesn't, or rather, it's a big disagreement, as she can't convince Jimmy or James to believe in Lena's innocence. They want to print a story about her being guilty at the paper, and James is okaying it. So a snapper. And Cara, doesn't like that. She feels that they're not being fair and it's not good journalism, things of that nature. But with the mounting evidence against Lena to the degree it's at, basically they're saying it would be, that's part of their job. That's what they're supposed to do. That, as a paper. But of course, Kara's personal feelings are involved. And so um, James feels she isn't seeing clearly on the issue. So um, James, as the Guardian, has anticipated that Lena's involved and that her jailbreak is next. So whilst Metallo was sent to the prison to break Lena out, Guardian is already there to try to stop Metallo, and they get into this fight. Jimmy's as the Guardian is fighting pretty good, but Metallo is just too strong, and he gets the best of the Guardian. And just about when Metallo is about to finish the Guardian off, we find that there is something wrong with the kryptonite that he's using. It's seems to power down. It seems to be giving him some issues, and so he's unable to finish the Guardian off. He instead gets Lena, and they leave. And we cut then to Cara, who's still having a real hard time with this, and her and Monel, they kind of have, Monel visits her, and they kind of have this kind of moment of truth where she finds out that Monel isn't actually dating the girl at the paper that she thought, because it was only one date, and she gets all this information, from the Monel's date, because she's upset that Cara is still on Monel's mind, and although Cara and Monel, they both say they aren't dating each other, it's kind of obvious that they have feelings for each other, and it basically, stops the relationship that Monel had picked up. But we also, get to see Cara, although not wanting to admit to her true feelings, kind of caught in a situation where, well, why care, who I'm dating, and, if you don't care about me. That's Monel's, thoughts towards Cara, and she can't answer it. She just kind of rushes off like she had something to do. But, it's pretty obvious at this point that, Cara has as much of a thing for Monel as he does for her. We then cut on to Lena and Lillian and Metallo going to this mountain fortress, or it's like a facility that was created by Lex to house some of his most important weapons and technology to fight against Superman. And we get a lot of interesting things, in this scene, as we had thought that Lillian was very sincere about her feelings toward Lena. We find out that it was a motivation behind it, that these weapons and technology of Lex can only be accessed by a Luthor. So you have to have actual Luthor DNA, and Lena is the only Luthor left that can provide that DNA, as it's found out that she is at this point a legitimate Luthor, a biological Luthor. So of course Lena is very disturbed by that. She thought her and her mom had kind of moved on to another level, but now it's seeming that Lillian only wanted her for her DNA, so Lena refuses to provide the DNA. And so then we get Cyborg Superman. We get his return. So we got two supervillains in the show this week, once again. And so Cyborg Superman forces Lena to, provide her DNA. We also get to learn that Cyborg Superman was the one who actually smuggled the kryptonite into the prison and disguise and fake the video cameras and things like that to make it look like it was actually Lena doing it. And this also provides a some vindication for Cara, as Cara had been right all along that Lena had not been assisting her mom to escape and part of this plan. So it's all discovered what's going on. It's also discovered that through John that Metallo's kryptonite that he's using, they're able to trace it. They find that it's become quite unstable and that it's going to blow up a great portion of the area. And so as Supergirl has decided to go, as they've tracked the location to the mountain to try to stop Lillian and Metallo, it's quite clear that if that kryptonite blows up, that Supergirl will be killed because that's kryptonite. And the reason why the kryptonite is unstable as well is because it's actually to some type of synthetic form of kryptonite, that they've created some type of way. So it's very unstable, but it will still be able to kill Supergirl. So Supergirl feels that's a risk she's going to have to take. She's going there to help Lena, to rescue Lena. And so she's headed that way. She gets there. But as she gets there, she's having to fight Metallo, and she's injured in the fight. And she also has to deal with Cyborg Superman. And so she's unmatched. But some of the weapons as well that are being used, because as Lillian is now have access to these various weapons that Lex has, we get to see this really cool. It's Lex's power suit, that he's used to kind of level the playing field when he battles Superman. So they just have all these cool weapons, and they're being used against Supergirl, and so Supergirl's in a lot of trouble. So just when we think, it's pretty much over for Supergirl, that she's not going to make it out, the Martian Manhunter shows up just in time to fight off Metallo. They grab Lena, they get out of there, they escape just in time before the facility is destroyed. So, we also get to see, turns, everybody, has pretty much apologized, and everybody's, comes to, the agreement that, hey, we were wrong, you were right this time, Cara, trusting, in people and believing in people, it worked out this time. It actually did work. And so, kind of having this good conversation, having faith in people still works. Also, her and James, they come to a good place where instead of her always trying to save him and take care of him and trusting him, and him having this constant back and forth about, I can take care of myself, and we should team up, I need to work with you, and things like that. They finally come to this place of trust where they're okay now, that they're going to basically accept each other, present situation as it is, trust each other. And so we finally get that bad relationship they had going on. We also then move on to Cara and Manel. And so we finally get to wrap that up as well. We finally get to see Manel and Cara share their true feelings toward one another. Cara explains that last year, a relationship, she's basically referring to James, or she could have had one, and she just didn't think she could balance that and Supergirl, but she's come to a new place where now she feels maybe it is possible to have it all. And right in that scene, we get, and I'm really having trouble with, I've been watching this character for years, Mr. Mixoplick. Mr. Mixoplex. And guys, if if you can say it better or know how to say it, please. Um, well, I don't guess you can say it. You can only type it, but you can at least tell me if I'm saying it right or wrong. I got Mr. Mixoplex. But I remember him from the comics. He was Imp, this interdimensional being, and he has magical powers. He actually, right when Cara and Monel are about to have their first romantic kiss, he appears and he expresses his love for Cara Zor-El, and so we don't we don't know how he found her, but again, in the comments, Mr. Mixel, he's this interdimensional magical imp, and from what we know about people from Krypton or Superman and Supergirl, magic is a weakness to them. They can't really fight magic. Magic is one of the only things that can hurt them, besides like kryptonite. And so Mr. Mixoplex, he has those powers, so he shows up, and so that creates two problems. That creates a wedge between what I think is going to be Cara and Monel's relationship, because now, of course, Mr. Mixoplex, he's interested in Cara, and he has magical powers, so he's going to be able to create a situation in which which is going to create some difficulties for them in trying to progress their relationship. So I think that's going to be pretty fun to see, and that's going to be next week's episode, I believe. But I did miss a very important scene, and I want to add a little insight of what I feel is going to happen with that, or some predictions. And in what we got to see Lena, after her ordeal of people not trusting her, her problems with her mom, we get to see Lena sit down, and we kind of get this kind of sinister music going, and she pulls out a chess game, and she's looking at a chess piece. And I've played a little chess. I was actually taught by the chess master of Virginia, the Grandmaster, Master Tassinine. And from what I'm seeing is that's called playing the long game. And so obviously Lena has some, and let me try to see if I can cut back to the previous slide here. Here we go. But went too far over. But Lena has some master plan, it seems, and it doesn't seem like a good one. It seems like it might be kind of villainous. From what I could see. And this is a flashback scene of Lena and actually a young Lex Luthor. And he's teaching Lena how to play. But we also get to find in this scene that I found very interesting was that Lena is actually beating Lex in chess. So that's suggesting that she may, in some ways, even be smarter than Lex, who's basically at this point considered to be one of the most smartest human beings on Earth, and of course Superman's greatest adversary. But she is actually beating him in chess, even as a young girl, much younger than him. And so my predictions is Lena is a villain, and I thought she was. They went along the lines of kind of keeping us guessing as to is Lena going to be a villain or not. But Lena, I believe, is a villain, and I have a few things to go on that I think will convince you all that Lena is a villain. Besides this very telling scene you get at the end of Supergirl, the character who plays Lena Luthor, and I can't remember her name, but she was actually played Morgana in the Merlin series, and she is just, I know in the Supergirl we haven't gotten to see her be a villain yet, but in Merlin she plays a very good villain. And she plays a villain way better than she plays a good person, And so part of the reason I believe Lena's going to be the biggest villain on Supergirl is because when they hired this actress to play this role, I really believe they hired her based on her ability to play a villain, as we've seen her do on the Merlin series. I don't think they're going to waste that talent she has to play as a villain. So that's my prediction. She's going to be Supergirl's greatest adversary, and as well, it's kind of mirroring the relationship between Lex and Superman, because we also get to understand that in this universe of Superman and Lex Luthor, they started off as best friends and they became enemies, sort of like what we got in the Smallville series. Now, some stories of the Superman and Lex relationship aren't always about them being best friends. Some of it is just about, them not liking each other and just kind of coming on the scene, at the same time and going head to head. But you do have some stories where they start off as really good friends, and then they become this, of course they become, enemies and things like that. But that's my predictions for this week, guys. I thought this was a great episode. One of my favorite episodes this season so far. I thought it was great. And I like this Mr. Mixoplitz, if I'm saying it right, which I think I'm saying it wrong. I like his coming in, at the end, even though he seems like a kind of funny and, it's going to be like kind of a light humor show or episode coming up next week. I still like how Supergirl explores all these different characters, in other dimensions and from other planets. That's something that didn't get a lot with a lot of Superman series, but Supergirl seems to do that quite well, and I like this episode. Guys, I hope you all enjoyed this week's episode as well. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Take care, guys.